Hi, welcome to another video. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that this is my Windows XP gaming tower, and this is a new to me, Lenovo M92p that I've installed Windows XP on. And the idea behind that is to replace this tower with this mini PC. And I'll just show you how small the PC is when we put it there. And also, if you put it on top, it's almost exactly the same width. So as you can see, it's almost exactly the same width as the tower, but it's considerably smaller. And there's going to be some other benefits as well in terms of power, noise, size, and maybe even performance. So let's have a look how this performs and then compare it to this one. On the left we have the Athlon XP system, and this is running an AMD Athlon XP 3000 at 2.17 gigahertz. The system's got 1 gigabyte of memory, as one stick. It's got an Nvidia 6600 GT graphics card with 256 megabytes, and that's AGP, and it's got a 40 gigabyte IDE hard drive. The system on the right has got an Intel i3 3220T processor, which is 2.8 gigahertz with 2 cores and 4 threads. It's also got 4 gigabytes of DDR3 memory, that's in single channel, and it's got the built-in Intel graphics. It's also got a 320 gigabyte 2.5 inch hard drive, which is SATA and 7200 RPM. Okay, so I've got them both set up. This is the XP Athlon system on the left, this is the new system on the right, and I thought I'd switch them both on at the same time so that we can see how quickly they boot up. And then we can run some of the benchmarks at the same time and show the results at the same time, so you can sort of see how they perform. Also so this one, the smaller system's quicker. They've both got hard drives. This has got a laptop hard drive, this has got an old 40 gig IDE drive, and I'll put the specifications in the description as well as on screen at some point. So this one much quicker. This one connected to real speakers, that one's got an internal speaker. So let's start with Diskmark 2000, and they'll be set to the same resolution even though the desktops are a different resolution. So 1024 by 768 for both, 16-bit for both. And I'll just click benchmark at the same time, and I missed on this one, but it won't affect the score, it'll just affect how quickly you see what's happening. They're both getting up to 99. Okay, so we've got 12,303 on the Athlon system, 14,600 on the smaller system. Okay, so we're on to Diskmark 2001, and I'll make sure I press the button at the same time so they run at the same time. And then I'll show you the scores at the end. This is high detail, and we're beginning to see a difference in frame rate. So around 48 and 60 to 90 on this side, 70 on this side. Yeah, we're seeing that this one's performing quite a bit better than this one. This is the nature scene that this one kind of was struggling, 30 2 frames per second. This one we're getting about 70 frames per second, so there's a definite improvement there. Okay, so we've got a score of 10,024 on this Athlon system and 14,972 on the newer system. So we're going to run 3D Mark 2003, starting it at the same time. This one's loading quicker, starting off around 160, 170 frames per second high. This one also quite high frame rates. Yeah, they're quite all over the place, so don't read too much into this, I guess, but we'll show you the results afterwards. This one's racing ahead really, and this one's struggling with this nature scene. This one on the left is finished because I didn't do the sound test. This one is running the sound benchmarks for some reason. And here we have the results. The XP system's got 4,227. The newer system's got 7,566. Here's a quick look at the speed difference between the drives. This is giving me 32 megabytes a second read and write. It is an old drive. It could be upgraded, of course. This is a laptop drive, got 7,200 RPM, and it's 116 and 111 megabytes per second. So noticeable difference in speed between the two in terms of the hard drive, and that's going to affect how quickly games load and things like that, and how quickly the system boots. We're going to move on to benchmarking some games now. We're going to start with Quake, because why not? And it worked a second ago on this one, but now isn't. Okay, so we can skip that one, I guess, and move over to GL Quake, which is a bit glitchy on both systems. And just start typing the command time demo1 and press enter and then clear that screen. And this one's done it in 559 frames per second. This one's still running. This one did it in 59.6 frames per second. Obviously this is GL Quake. I've not really optimized anything or spent any time trying to work out why they do and don't work very well. Like I say, it glitches on this one. On this one, Quake didn't want to run. We'll move on to Quake 3 now. And I'll go for high quality, which is 800 by 600 on both systems. So I'll press enter at the same time on both. This one's doing it in 226 frames per second versus 199 frames per second on this one. We're going to move on to running the Doom 3 benchmark. For this, it wants the disk, which is kind of frustrating because you have to change disks, etc. But yeah, we'll run the benchmark on this. And you can't run the benchmark on the demo, which is also another unfortunate thing. But yeah, I've worked out that Doom 3 is just too scary for me to actually play. It's useful to see, you know, more advanced graphics and test that kind of thing, but for me it just like really scares me far too much. So I've got these both set up to 800 by 600. You have to press Control Alt and the little corner tilde key, I think. Time demo 1, and we'll set those running at the same time. This one, I'd already run this once, so that's why it jumped in quicker. They both kind of seem quite stuttery. At times. We got 45 frames per second on this one and 39 on this. I'm going to restart them, retry it. Okay, so we're running this again. And we got 43.4 frames per second on this one and 41.4 on the Athlon system. Run this again, we've got 49 frames per second on this one and 47 on this one, so yeah, don't know what's happening there with the frame rate changing, but seems like this one's performing pretty well. And I run it another time and we're getting 48.9 from this and 47 from this one. So what's the conclusion? Well, this smaller PC has a faster processor, faster hard drive, and seems to do okay with graphics as well, even though it's just built in. It's beaten the Athlon XP system in 3D Mark 2000, 2001, 2003, and it can outperform it in Quake 3, and some other games as well seem to perform really well on this system at high resolutions, such as Black and White and Need for Speed Most Wanted. They perform quite well, but they don't have built-in benchmarks, so I've been using fraps for those. The main thing for me is that it's considerably smaller, it's much lighter, and it boots up quicker, and also it uses much less power. The Athlon XP system uses between 90 watts idle to about 130 watts under load, whereas this smaller PC uses under 20 watts on idle and up to about 30-35 watts on load. So all that's left really is to, I guess, say goodbye to the Athlon XP system. And enjoy some quiet gaming from this little PC that's much quieter, and then I can concentrate on just playing games. Black and White is one of those really cool games, really interesting to play, but I guess the kind of is not a game you can just jump straight into, have a quick game and then leave and do something else. It's kind of drags you in. You have to stick to missions and that kind of thing. But yeah, I've turned the resolution up on this one and we're getting some nice results. It's a game that doesn't really need the highest frame rates, but it kind of feels smooth when you're going in and out and looking at things. And yeah, let's have a look at some little people. So you can pick them up, move them around and do, you know, whatever you want. It's a kind of game that gives you the choice of whether you're going to be good or bad, and yeah, you can interact with lots of different things. But it does take a while to kind of get used to what's happening and what the missions are and how to play it. But yeah, hope you found this interesting. It's good to see that you can still install Windows XP on newer machines, and they don't have to cost that much. This is the Intel 3rd generation system and it's working really well. So yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and look out for more videos. Bye. I've adjusted the resolution and bits per pixel to 32, 800 by 600, and it looks much better now. It's also still quick. So what was that? 376 frames per second on GL Quake.